Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30. It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. And we've got George for a little update of what he's been up to. Let's see if Jamie's in. Oh, Jamie, is he still at the pub?
Maybe.
Do we think Jamie's still at the pub having a little quick pint before Through the Garden Gate?
Well, if he is, he's missing through the Garden Gate right now.
Or is he... Oh, there he is, look. Here's Jamie.
Maybe.
So, how did you know I'd been to the pub? Are you some kind of sidekick or something?
He was running down the road with you.
Not quite. It was, I don't know, I had 3 or 4 minutes. Hello, George.
Yeah.
You all right, mate?
Yeah. I've got a bit of an injured leg from the week.
Oh, no. Do you want to talk about...
Dash ran into me, and I went like this.
Did he take you out?
Yeah, pretty much. He went at full speed and took me out.
Oh, no.
George was running to kick his football, Dash was running to chase his ball, and they both went.
Oh, no.
Dash carried on running because it didn't even bother him, and George was in a heap on the floor.
Yeah, it wasn't funny. I thought I broke my leg.
Do you want to talk about football for a couple of minutes, George?
Maybe.
What happened in
Did you
football?
Did you see what happened on Sunday night?
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the whole bit of it. It was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it?
Not really.
We were right for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. When Cole Palmer scored, we thought that we had a chance of winning it, but then
Never
whatever
mind.
his name is scored in like the 86th minute.
Not to be, hey, not to be this time.
Yeah.
Spain was
Couple of years. Spain were the best all the way through. Nobody can ever deny that. They played well.
and England were lucky.
England were lucky scoring that.
I do believe if we were drawn in Spain's half,
We got obliterated.
yeah, we would have been nowhere near. I don't think we've even got out of the group stages.
No, we had the luck, but not the luck in the final.
No. Oh dear. Never mind. Right, that's football gone.
Football done. We've talked football.
We've talked football. That's
George.
finished.
Go in. Look, it's starting to rain. Otherwise, you're going to get wet.
Bye, George. Yes, so Joe said, who's going to be the new manager? I don't know.
My money is on Graham Potter.
I don't even know who that is.
Used to be Brighton's manager,
Oh, right.
and then went to Chelsea and got sacked after 6 months, like Chelsea do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then there's also talk of the under-21s manager as well that won the under-21s Euros last season.
Because Gareth was under 21s at one point, wasn't he? Yeah.
So whether they do that again, it sort of makes sense rather than trying to buy players. Because, I mean, everybody's going Eddie Howe at Newcastle, but they won't be able to afford to pay him out of his contract.
No. They've tried bringing in the big foreigners as well. Sven and all them.
And all the players hated it.
Yeah.
I'll have to move.
All I can hear is rain on your polytunnel.
Start throwing.
Hi, Catherine. Oh, we got a question quickly, Mark. Hi, guys. I have a problem with tree roots coming through the grass next door. What's the way to stop them? Oh, my God, Mark. What would you say to that? Well, you can you?
I mean, that's probably the best thing you can do is to chop them out. But I mean,
Yeah.
you're never going to stop it other than putting a physical barrier in the way, like a concrete slab or something like that in between the two properties. But tree roots will find their way underneath that eventually.
Whatever happens, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah, it's not going to
Dig down, chop them out. While you're down there, put a couple of slabs in.
Yeah.
Slow them down a bit.
And hopefully it's not anything too huge that's going to take over. But yeah, that'd be what I'd do.
Yeah.
Oh,
How are you then, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Had a nice week.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I've been doing. I think it was Steph said to me, "Oh, it was only 2 weeks since Hampton." I was like, "Is it? It feels like about a month ago since we were at Hampton."
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
At some points, it feels like time's going so fast, and then you think, oh, actually, yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It's Tatton tomorrow.
Tatton tomorrow, yeah. No, I don't think I'm going. I've been, I wouldn't say pressured, but asked. But I don't think I'm going to go. It's a bit far for me.
No, Chris has gone over there from work tonight.
Has he?
Staying over at one of his friends' house.
I think that's the only way to do it, because
You've got to be there at 7.
Can't be leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning and nothing like that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Are those alliums behind your head? What variety? Yes, we mentioned that last week. They are alliums, but they are leeks. They are all the leeks.
Way to get some allium flowers.
Look at them. And they look absolutely amazing. Look how thick they are.
They are brilliant.
Yeah.
Flies and stuff absolutely look.
Oh, I know.
Covered.
Tell me about it. I'm covered in them.
All the good guys.
I'm covered in them as well. I really shouldn't sit next to the leeks.
But they look so nice.
They do look nice. And they still look nice once, when they dry out as well. They look really nice.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And then you get seed.
But like I keep saying, these are the flowers. The flowers taste so oniony. Last 3 weeks now I've been eating leek flowers.
Salads and all sorts.
I know, it's really nice. So we had some more rain. I've had bloody rain. Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
The last couple of days it's been rubbish again.
Terrible. I woke up this morning at 6:30. I thought, whatever's that again?
It's like autumn as well. It's like misty and cold.
Yeah.
It's not even warm rain.
No.
Not stormy or anything. It's just damp.
Just wet and horrible. But apparently it's supposed to be really warm tomorrow.
Yeah, it's back to normal summerish weather for a day or two. I'm sure it won't last.
Definitely not. Oh, I've just seen your cup. Here's mine.
Hey.
Rainwater.
Is that from last week?
Yeah.
Good job it's not being frosty. Broke your cup.
Oh dear, I'm absolutely
That's how
terrible.
much rain we've had, look.
Yeah, there was about 2 inches in there. I'm terrible. You don't know how many times I've walked past that cup and gone, oh, I must take that in. But never do.
Yeah, it's definitely helping the slugs out, all this rain. Helping them move about the place.
I've seen some horrendous things on Instagram. Did you see Ben's post? Was it this morning? Oh my God.
I just can't get anything going. Like every time something's nearly going, slugs land it. Like squash, courgettes, beans.
I'm all right with that. My beans and my squashes are doing all right.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
The only thing good is tomatoes. My potatoes are fine because obviously they're not bothered by them. But yeah, everything else in the veg garden is just. My beetroot's okay.
Beetroot's
Yeah,
all right. Yeah.
yeah,
It's just
stuff.
I can't remember a summer like it, to be honest. I really can't.
And any new plants we've put in at work that we've grown, like salvias and stuff like that, we've grown and we've planted them, and then the next day they're just absolutely decimated. Even though you've grown them onto, decent size, they're just all over them.
Which normally, if you grow them to a decent size, they can cope, can't they?
Yeah, they just leave them alone,
Yeah.
but they're just, I mean, I went in the other morning and there was like 3 slugs hanging off this salvia that the day before was absolutely perfect, and it was literally sticks. They're just
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder whether it's like just a combination of loads of things. With the bird flu, there's less birds, no cold, there's more slugs.
Obviously, the rain, because it's been so
Right.
wet as well.
So they're constantly breeding because it's not too hot for them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I hope it's not going to be the norm, because there's so many people at the minute saying, "No, I'm not going to bother.
People
I'm
are
just going
to give up." Like I said to somebody this morning, if all I was doing was veg growing, I'd have had enough by now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lucky that at home the flower bit is looking really nice. There's decent plants in there that can survive slug attacks.
But on the other hand, butterflies, none.
I've seen quite a few the last couple of days actually, but
oh, maybe they're on the way then. But
I've seen them.
I had a look the other day back at my posts and things from last year, and I had. It's not a very good comparison, really, but I had brassicas that looked like doilies.
Cabbage white.
But they're not this year, because I haven't seen a cabbage white yet.
It's too wet. Butterflies need it really dry to hatch.
Yeah.
So if it's wet, they're knackered.
Yeah.
It's just like a perfect storm, isn't
it? Which for us, maybe, because it's not eating a few cabbage and things, it's all right. But it's not, on the whole, it's not. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, Catherine saw one today. Oh, and Joe, cabbage whites are on the way. Oh, I better get my netting out.
I had aphids on my beans as well the other day, I've noticed.
What beans?
On sword beans.
Oh,
covered in black flies.
Oh, I ain't looked at mine.
But they're all right. They're not damaging it, so I'll leave them.
I tell you,
hopefully.
What is disappointing, we'll get our guest in a second. My second sowing of snake beans, they were a good 6 inches when I planted them out, and they're all just bump.
I think that's a heat thing.
They just don't like something outside. It's just not warm enough for them, or it's too wet or something.
I've planted mine near the door of the polytunnel, and it's sulking quite a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder whether I should have planted it further in to keep it warmer, because it's obviously
Catherine,
a warmer plant. So
I might have one of them out. The best one, I might have it out and get it in the greenhouse quickly and see if I can get something from it.
Because mine, when Catherine gave me it, it was amazing, and it sort of sulked a bit, because I think it's maybe not as warm in my polytunnel as well. I mean, when Catherine gave me it, it was that nice weekend, and since then we've had virtually no sun.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and yours are in the new greenhouse now, Catherine, aren't they? So
yeah,
beautiful and warm.
But yeah, it's still alive, but it doesn't look very happy. I've fed it, and it's not grown. So
I think I might have it up, or one of them up, and take it in the greenhouse, just so I can try and give
it some
heat. A snake bean. I need a snake bean. Right, let's get our guest in. Catherine, hopefully Catherine will, now with their lovely
I can go and have one at Catherine's house.
greenhouse. Let's get him in, Mark. He'll be itching.
Yeah. I've seen he's in.
Is he in?
So tonight's guest is Woolly Hilarious. He's revolutionising the horticulture industry one pot at a time. You won't believe who we have. His company won Garden Press Event New Product of 2023. They are regulars at Gardeners World Live. Show your appreciation. I promise you
God.
won't get fleeced. Here he is. It's
Dear me.
Graham from Woolpots.
Could you get any worse?
Sure, Graham will appreciate it.
I'm sure he will. Here he is.
Hello.
Hello, Graham.
Mark, that was truly terrible, and I thank you for it.
Had to be done.
I'm glad I weren't the only one who thought that. How are you, Graham? You right?
Yeah, very good. I mean, I have to say, I'm sitting here. It's the middle of July. I'm sitting here, and it's so stormy. It's like dark outside.
It's terrible, isn't it? Whereabouts are you? Just remind us.
I'm in the sheep capital of the United Kingdom, Fulham. Yeah.
Oh dear! And what? It's 7:45, and it looks like it's dark.
It's dark, and then literally it's like the apocalypse is about to happen. So I'm going to try and get my phone on an even keel. There we are.
Yeah,
So
it's been horrendous.
Jamie, thank you first of all for helping us out on the Gardeners World stand.
No, I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it's all got a bit busy. So yeah, we're like, oh my god, Jamie.
Brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I think an hour and a half or something. I was there giving you a hand. Just tell us what that is about at the Gardeners World thing. What do you do?
Well, they actually asked us. They are desperately trying to be more sustainable in their approach to what they do, and so part of they were talking to us, and we said to them, "Well, hang on, every single plant that's sold at the show is sold in a plastic pot." They went, "Yeah." They said, "Well, will you be our repotting partner?" So we said, "Well, what does that involve?" And they said, "Well, people buy the plants in plastic pots. They come to you, you swap the plastic pots and give them a wool pot, and all the plastic pots that we collect will go to a school planting project. So they get divvied up among the local schools. The kids learn how to plant plants and seeds,
Yeah.
and then they grow the plants. And then what they do is they sell them at sort of school fairs and school fetes, and they raise money for the school. So it was a good project, and it just helped us raise the profile and show that you can actually plant plants in non-plastic pots.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you've tried it. You've tried them, haven't you?
I've used them. I don't know, 7 or 8 times now, and I think they're absolutely amazing. Absolutely, the best results I had was this year, and they were my chilies. Never seen nothing like it. The roots in those chilies were just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They're doing rubbish now. Now I've put them outside in the greenhouse. They're doing absolutely terrible because there's no heat. But the roots, and I've done a reel on them, and they were doing what they're supposed to do. Should we just tell everybody, just in case nobody knows, what a wool pot is first before we start getting into depth?
Well, I thought I'd have some to hand so I can show people. So
Well
these
done.
are your wool pots, and then you just undo one here. You use them like you would a normal plant pot. So you fill them full of compost. You put your seeds or your plugs in the top, water it like you would a normal plant, and then what you see is you see the roots coming out the bottom of the wool pot. I found a tiny tree sapling. Just outside. I found a tiny tree sapling. You see the roots coming out the bottom there.
Look at that, yeah.
So that's ready to go out. But I found that in my local park when it was tiny. Literally, I had 2 little leaves on it, and I planted it out. And now that's about ready to find a new home, I think. But then when you see the roots coming through the bottom that you just saw there, you dig a hole, you stick the whole pot in the ground, but you leave this collar just slightly proud of the soil, because wool is a natural slug and snail deterrent. I mean, it's not 100%, but they don't seem to like the wool. They don't like the lanolin. They don't like the feel of it. And then the roots just grow through the bottom of the wool pot. Then after sort of, I guess, 7 weeks in the soil, it just rots down into food, and it releases nitrogen and back into the soil, so you actually improve your soil. So you've got no plastic, no waste, and we're using wool, which is an amazing natural material. And it's obviously completely sustainable. Well, sheep will wander around eating grass, fertilizing new grass as they do.
Yeah.
And then once a year they're shorn, and we use the wool to make wool pots, and then they carry on eating the grass that's been fertilized by them earlier. So it's this perfect circle, environmental sustainable circle.
So where did the idea come from then?
Mainly alcohol. I've got a friend who's a lady farmer. She's called Nikki, and every time I see her, the conversation always starts with effing sheep, and I go, oh yeah, what's going on? And she goes, they do everything in their power to kill themselves. They're always escaping.
Yeah.
If there's a hole this big, they get their head stuck in it. They're always falling over. They're always falling in the river. It took 4 of us to pull a sheep out of the river a few weeks back, and then we dragged it out. And they weigh a ton, and we stood it on the bank, and it looked at me and went, yeah. Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, brilliant.
See you in a week. I'm going back in.
Yeah. You got to try and stop them from jumping straight back in the river, because I love sheep, but they're not bright.
No, definitely not. We get them. We've got them around here, and you go for a walk, and you see them, like you say, stuck through the square bits of the fences and things, and you try and no brains. But I think that's the thing, isn't it? They said the sheep's brains are about the size of a golf ball or something, isn't it?
Well, I think they're overestimating in some breeds. So anyway, so I said to my friend, my farmer friend Nikki, I said, so what do you do with all your wool then? And she went, oh well, there's no market for it. I just put it in a pile and burn it. And I was like, oh my god! And I was like, you can't do that. And she said, well, what am I going to do with it? She was offered like 75. It costs you £1.50 to shear a sheep, and she was offered 75p for the fleece, but you have to get it to the depot first. So you have to take it to the collection depot. So that's a man and a lorry and fuel. So by the time you've paid for that, and then I think the way it works is that they pay you a percentage of that 75p, and then when they sell the fleece, they pay you the difference between the percentage and what they actually got for it.
Oh
so
my goodness!
You could end up just getting that 20% if they don't really sell it. And wool is, I mean, the good wool, lamb's wool and merino and cashmere stuff, that's great. But it's all the other kind of unloved wool that we're trying to find a home for. And you've seen these ones here. This grey mixture is a little Herdwick cross mix. So that's quite a hard wearing wool. I just in the mesh from the messy allotment here. Everything I have growing planted out in wool pots has had less slug damage.
Yeah.
Thank you, love you very much.
Yeah,
it does make a difference.
I do hear lots of people say that, and especially this year, that the slugs and snails have been horrendous. But definitely the collars of the wool pots have been doing some of what what we hope.
I mean, like you, I was having a look on on Instagram, having a scoot around. The size of some of the slugs that people have been posting, I mean, they're quite extraordinary.
Horrendous, aren't they?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Ginormous. So some of them are like 4 or 5 inches long. You say, oh my god, what are you supposed to do with those?
Yeah.
Massive brown ones are horrible.
Oh,
I just don't care.
Yeah. What's this? I'm saying.
Excellent. Well done. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So basically, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to show that there is an alternative to plastic pots. And Jamie, you and I had a conversation about clearing out your shed.
That's where this has evolved from. So my potting bench, which is just over there, I had a couple of weeks ago. I had a good tidy up, and because I've got a 9-month-old ginger Labrador who just keeps wrecking everything. He'll put his head in the middle of it all and pull it out and just go and shred it. So I said, right, I'll pull it all out and I'll put them all my pots into sizes, and I did have a count. You said to me, "Oh, have you got a count up?" And I've got over 300 pots under there.
Yeah.
And that just made me think, looking back from when I came to Gardeners World and helped you, that massive pile that you had sitting there,
Yeah.
I've got 300. And I must say, I've probably bought, to pot things on, maybe 100 of those. But all the other ones are just coming when I've bought plants over the last 3 or 4 years. So if I've got 300, everybody who does any gardening has got a stack of pots somewhere else, plastic pots.
Yeah. Well, Ben from Bristol, you mentioned earlier, he had to clear out his shed, and so we ran a competition.
Yeah.
And I said to him, how many do you reckon you've got? He went, 50 or 60. I went, probably more than that, Ben, quite honestly.
Gotta be.
And so he had a count, 522 in his shed.
Exactly.
And he said, I'm not the worst offender on the...
No, definitely not.
So it is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I guess that explains why, 500 million get sent to landfill every year. So 500 million get sent to landfill in the UK every year. It's an insane number.
It is absolutely, mind-blowing numbers.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing numbers.
Actually, and if you get your pots, and a lot of the time, so some garden centres say they reuse them, but the trouble is, what they're concerned about is contamination. So all pots have a bit of soil left in them, but you don't know what it is, you don't know where it's come from, so you're worried about contamination. So in order for the garden centres to reuse them, there we are. Yeah. They've got to wash them and sterilise them, which
of course,
which basically is not going to happen because it costs too much money.
Yeah, because they can just go. They can go and buy another one for a few pence
for much less than it costs to wash and sterilise.
Yeah.
I can see someone said I recycle at the garden centre. Well, it's quite interesting because if you think with garden centres, you have your where your potting line is, and you have a machine that goes chunk 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 chunk, and it drops the pot down, and then it goes onto a conveyor belt, and it's full with soil. Then it goes along, and the dibber goes in, and then the seeds or the plug happen. But the trouble is that with that machine is calibrated to fit this size pot.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, you think look at your pots. You've got probably have 50 different sizes.
Easy. And
they won't fit in the machine because the machine's calibrated that particular size pot. So anything that's not that pot is not going to fit in the machine. So it's never going to work. No. So bizarrely enough, when we did some research on this, if you send your plastic plant pots off to be incinerated, and that generates electricity, then that's considered recycling. So they may well recycle them, but maybe not in the way you think.
No.
And the other thing is, if you have a look at all your plastic pots, if you feel them, they're all slightly different textures. Some are soft, some are hard, some are more flexible. So they're all different. They're made with all different types of plastic. So therefore, they're not compatible to be recycled because they're made of all sorts of different plastics.
So I can remember at Gardeners World, I think you were quite busy, and I was having a chat with Tom, and we was talking about actually recycling them. And a lot of the problem is the colours.
Yeah.
So I've just been through, just a couple of minutes before we came on, I went through my little stack and found all the different colours. So I've got a dark green, small, a grey, a green, multicoloured, purple with grey, blue, a normal brown, a brown with grey, black, and a red.
Yeah. And here's the weird thing, that each one of those companies that makes those pots will have patented that particular pot and that particular colour.
Right.
So they own the rights to that particular colour and format of pot.
So that makes it even worse.
And we're also told that the reason they started changing the colours was because the machine in your kind of garbage refuse centre, it scans and it can't pick up. It couldn't pick up black pots because it shines it and it doesn't see anything, so it doesn't register that there is anything there.
Yeah.
So they changed the colour of the pot. So they introduced taupe and all this colour there. But all that really means is the scanner can now go, oh yeah, there's a pot there. But it doesn't mean, oh good, that can be recycled. It just goes, oh, there's a pot there.
Yeah.
So all that extra money that was spent on creating all these different colour pots, it's just so the scanning machine can go,
Look,
oh yeah, there's a pot there.
that one and that one.
Yeah.
That's really firm, and that one's just nothing.
Yeah. And the black plastic pot that you held up, that one there. So the research that we did with Lancaster University showed that particular pot, that black pot, will take 450 years to break down. You know,
and it has got the recycling sign on the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's got a 5 in the middle, and then PP underneath. I don't know what that means. Maybe you do, but yeah.
Plastic.
So it says it can be recycled, but it probably won't be.
No. Well, that's why 500 million are sent to landfill every year.
Of course
Probably the same number again are sent to incineration. So I can just see. So where do you get the wool from? I haven't seen that I could crochet my own. We don't crochet your own. You do it. You put us out of business. For goodness sake. We use British wool. We've got a factory in Portugal, and we do get a bit of stick for that actually. But we tried very, very hard to find manufacturing in the UK, and we just could not find any manufacturing. We're probably going to have to make our own factory, build our own factory,
right?
Because we went and visited a couple of factories, and some of them had the wrong machinery, some of them couldn't cope with the quantities, and a couple of the ones we went to, normally I'm jacket and tie, and we walked into a couple of factories, and when we walked in, half the workforce made a run for the fire escape because they thought we were from immigration. So we said to them, yeah, we're really sorry, but we can't work.
No.
We can't work for you, with you. I said, because we will be audited. We work with the Eden Project and various other kind of really super uber green companies, and we will be audited. And also the reason we've gone into this is to create a good, sustainable, ethical business.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So people are giving you a hard time because you're shipping the wool to Portugal and then shipping the pots back again.
Yeah, but it drives us mad. And so eventually we will hopefully have production in the UK.
Yeah.
We've got an office in Holland as well, and by having a factory in Portugal means we can ship from Portugal to our office in Holland easily.
Yeah.
We can ship from Portugal into the UK. There's a lot of customs paperwork involved, but to ship from the UK back into Europe is just horrific nightmare. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. So we'll get there in the end, but it just we've only been going literally. Oh, we may have just turned 2 actually. Yeah, we may have just turned 2. So we've only been going a couple of years, and it just takes time to get everything.
Yeah, definitely,
sorted.
definitely. But the thing is that
there was a message saying, "Do we ship to the US?" The best thing to do is just write directly to me. Go through the Woolpots website, info at, drop a message in, it comes through to me. And I talked about we have shipped to the US. We are talking to US distributors, but they've got a few other things on their mind at the moment.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Where do you buy them from? I've got a message out there. So they're in Blue Diamond, they're in Hilliers. You can buy them directly from our website, wool-pots.co.uk.
If you go on your Instagram page here, everything's linked to it from there. So you could that's probably the easiest way from where we are at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also we get the retail margin, which is fantastic.
Definitely. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I love them. I think they're absolutely brilliant things. Absolutely brilliant. When this year, when I've done my chilies, like I said, I've never seen nothing like it. Nothing. They're just, I made a fatal thing of having them all touching
Two tip. Yeah.
too close, touch it, and they were just they started to. I just got them. They started to intermingle between each other. But
There's a little bit of science behind it actually, which I know you're dying to hear.
go on.
Definitely.
We love a bit of science.
So because of the knit of the wool pots, it allows more oxygen into the roots. So that gives you a much stronger root growth, and it gives you a much stronger plant growth. But it does provoke such strong root growth that if the pots are touching each other, as you found out yourself, they all go and visit each other. So then you're left with this great big tangle of things. But if you leave like a gap between them, just an inch or so, the roots go to the sides of the pot and go, nothing there, I'll head down.
Go the other way.
And then actually once the roots are there, they naturally air prune. And when they reach the side of the pot and realize nothing there, they sprout lots of very fine filigree hair roots to take in more moisture. So when you water a wool pot, normally when you water a plastic pot, the water runs straight through.
Yeah.
When you water a wool pot, it actually wicks the moisture up. It sucks the moisture back up, and it actually retains the moisture better than a plastic pot, and it actually insulates against the heat. So your plants will stay moister for longer.
Yeah.
But you still need to water them. So,
Of course, yeah, definitely.
see,
Have you used them, Mark?
Someone saying we just started following you. I just want to say there is a content warning on our Instagram site because we do tell very, very bad sheep jokes.
As you would have found out at the beginning of this live.
as Mark will tell you.
Yes, I use wool pots as well, and I found exactly the same sort of results. That anything in the wool pot is usually 50% bigger, stronger than anything in a plastic pot
Yeah, definitely.
by a large margin.
And you've started making big ones,
that.
Graham, as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got some prototype ones here. I've got some secret stuff to show you. Here's your normal pot, and here's the prototype, the big one. So you can see it's considerably bigger. We tried some of those on Ben's garden at Gardeners World Live.
Right.
Yes.
And he seemed very happy with them. And we also created another product which is available just through Crocus at the moment because they're doing a whole lot of planting stuff for us, and it's called pot tape. So you get 5 meters. It's like get 5 meters of pot tape.
Right.
If you've got terracotta pots or pots with hostas or stuff like that in, you just wrap the wool around it and tie it, and that also helps protect against slugs.
Ah, brilliant.
There we are, an exclusive for you.
I've just put my hood on because I've got loads of flies around me. Sorry. I look a bit like a Jedi now.
or a yacht.
In you. Dad.
I'll just... Yes. I was just about to say, how many wool pots do you think we could get out of Mark's beard and hair? If we shaved him.
A substantial amount, I think, probably.
So what's the long-term gain? What are you looking for? Are you looking to replace all plastic pots, or is it more like a consumer side of things, or are you looking at wholesale more?
Well, that is a very good question, Mark. Very perceptive, if I may say. So we're selling the actual bundles of wool pots in garden centres and stuff, but we're doing like a two-pronged attack. So we want to have people buying them and using them themselves, but also we want to basic supply through nurseries. So we've done some trials with nurseries, and that's quite interesting because we plant. We'll say, here's a whole lot of wool pots, please try them. But they use 2,000 pots at a time, and they put them on these big trays, these big racks, and we're working with a couple of big herb growers, and so they use the wall pots exactly like a normal pot. And as you said, the herbs grow very quickly, and they're like, oh God, the herbs grew quickly. We went, yeah, we know. And they went, and we use less water than we would normally. We went, yeah, we know. We told you. We told you this. And we're saying so, and they're saying the pots do discolor a little bit, but nothing too dramatic, especially with herbs, because they take like 30 to 40 days to grow.
Yeah.
In the nurseries, and we're saying, well, hang on. So you could bring your product to market sooner and use less water. So that's the saving on heat and light, and the saving on water. So why wouldn't you use us? They're like, oh, the public don't want to buy, wool pots that look a bit organic. I'm like, well, why don't you ask them? We'll do a retail trial with you, and we'll be in the store and we'll ask them how they feel about them, because most people. Well, thank you for ordering.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, most people, would be very happy not to have, a plastic herb pot, because you go home with a plastic herb pot, you go snip, and throw it away.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's face it. 99% of things you go and buy when you get home, you take it out and plant it somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a bigger pot or in the garden or in the veg, you take it out that plastic pot and plant it anyway. That's why I got over 300 of them sitting under my potting bench.
What I've been doing with we bought, because we do lots of test buys. So I bought a pot of basil from our local supermarket, and then when I got it home, I took it out of the pot and I kind of shook it and I've run it under the tap and I unravelled it, and there were 15 basil plants.
Ridiculous.
So I planted each one in a wool pot, and now I've got 15 basil plants, and now I'm going to have enough pesto for several months.
Yeah, maybe I should have done that, because I did the same and planted my basil straight into the ground, and the slugs have all eaten it. If I'd have put it in wool pots, they might have left them alone.
I'll try. I haven't touched mine yet. Touch wood. I haven't touched mine in the greenhouse, because, like Mark said, I think Mark said last year or the year before that he buys a basil plant, splits it, and just plants it in and amongst the tomato plants, and that's what I've done so far. But no, touch wood, no slugs in my greenhouse.
Yeah.
So do you garden yourself then, Graham?
I do. I would say I'm an enthusiastic gardener, not necessarily a good gardener.
Yeah, like me.
And I paid my way through college by gardening, because when I went to college, I basically couldn't get a grant. So I thought I'm going to have to earn some money. So I just went around to all the big houses in Chichester, which is in West Sussex. I just went to all the big houses and said, listen, I'm a student, I need some money. I'll do all the jobs that you don't want to do. I'll cut your lawn, I'll cut your hedges, I'll rake the leaves. And a lot of people went, well, that's great. So my gardening skills are a lot of chopping things down. My granddad was a brilliant gardener, so he kind of got me into it, and he had a fabulous garden, very sandy soil. So I remember he used to have amazing sort of carrots and things like that. Which came out of the soil very quickly and were eaten just as quickly, But I've got here on my balcony out here, it's like some weird, experimentation. I've got all kinds of plants growing. I've got the most extraordinary. I planted a whole load of avocado seeds, and they are growing like crazy.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah, literally unbelievable. So I've got all sorts of weird things, and I've got a huge area here where my son is getting married on Saturday. So keep your fingers crossed for the rain.
Oof.
Or no rain. He said what I want on the wedding tables is I want a mixture of lavender and rosemary in wool pots along all the tables.
Brilliant.
So I've got a whole load of lavender and rosemary plants in wool pots. So yeah, I've got a ton of weird and wonderful things growing.
Joe's just said, will wool pots last 7 months with autumn sowings?
Ooh, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I've got wool pots outside that have been out for a while. This one here, that's 4 months, and it is getting a bit dilapidated. But it just depends on your conditions. I mean, if you kept it in the greenhouse and you just watered it, little and often, it's just like, because wool pots are just like a jumper. A jumper wouldn't rot if you left it on a shelf.
No.
I've got cactuses that I've had in wool pots for over a year now, and I just every month or so I just get an ice cube and I put it on the top of the cactus, and it slowly melts, and the cactus absorbs more moisture that way. And I've got some of you saw our experimental wool pots that we got the weave wrong, so we tried this one, and the weave was too loose.
Okay.
So we're like, oh dear, that's why we make prototypes. But we took some up to Gardeners World Live, and the British Orchid Society looked and went, oh, they're brilliant, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, do you like our orchid pots?
Oh, you 1,000.
Brilliant. I suppose because the orchids just like air round their roots,
And
don't they?
I've put some in orchids, and they're great because you put the wood chip in, the orchids in, and then because the knit is quite loose, you get these amazing roots come out through the wool pots. It looks quite, it looks really quite, fantastic when all the roots start coming through.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's So Mark, a long-winded answer to your question. We're hoping that people will start using wool pots and start using them to grow their own plants. We're hoping the nurseries, will. We've done 4 trial, grows now.
Yeah.
Each trial has been, the plants have grown amazingly well, but it's just the nurseries that, we're not sure the retailers would like it. I'm like, just ask them. We go, give us the contact details to the retailers. We'll ask them. Oh no, we can't do that. We can't do that. So we'll get there eventually, because we are tenacious, and we believe very much in what we're doing. So it's that's the mission.
I think even if they do a similar thing that we were doing at Gardeners World, maybe they will still grow the plants from seed in a plastic pot, but as it goes to the till, maybe do the same thing. Send it home in a wool pot.
Yeah.
And then because their plastic pots are all from the same nursery, they can go back and actually be used in their machines and go again.
Yeah. I mean, one of the garden centre nurseries we're talking to have been discussing that, but it just takes people forever to make a decision. I mean, it's extraordinary. So someone said, how much British wool is wasted each year? That is a very good question, because it's not. I mean, like my friend Nikki, who's the farmer, she burns all of her wool, but I've no idea how much wool was there before it was burnt. But we do get a lot of people telling us they burn the wool.
Yeah.
There's about 20 million kilograms in warehouses. British wool have about 20 million kilograms in warehouses.
Oh my God.
And we're going to go and see British Wool on Thursday, to have a little chat with them. And we're members of the Campaign for Wool, which is like a global organisation that was created to promote the use of wool worldwide. So they're a great bunch.
How much of fleece goes into each pot? How many pots can you get from one fleece?
Well, that's also a very good question, because when you get a fleece, it's full of lanolin, it's full of dirt, a lot of poo, a bit of straw. There's a lot of other stuff. So then you put it through the scouring plant. So you scour it and you wash out all those things. So then you're left with your clean fleece. Then they put it on these great big rollers, with little tiny pins on, and it stretches it all in the same direction. It's called
Isn't
carding.
that called carding? Oh, yeah.
Well,
I knew that.
Yeah, so that's carding. And then they use that, and they put in these big, thick tubes called toppers, and then it gets turned into yarn. And so it just depends. Also, there are some very primitive breeds like Castle Montmoret, which is a very primitive sheep, and they have very tight fleece, very waterproof fleece, very tight, but not much of it.
Right.
But then you get to something like a Zworbel, and Zworbels are the big black sheep, and they're fabulous, very, very friendly, and they have much heavier fleeces. So it just use teasels to cardwell. Well done.
Did they? Wow, fantastic. So if at the factory, do they have to say, right, we've got a lot of this fleece, put that through, and then they have to change to the next type of fleece, or they can't just bundle it all into one and let it go?
It really depends. When the wool goes into British wool, it's all graded. So yeah, the different lengths of the fleece and the lengths of the fibers, because different lengths of fiber is used for different products. So it's all graded, and then kind of like the wool. I mean, the Zorbal wool is lovely, but it's brown. You know, actually it's brown. No one wants it, and we've had some Zorbal pots. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of felt pots being
Felt
sold.
pots.
Yeah, felting is a different process, and it's less flexible. Someone said on the messages earlier. So the best thing about a wool pot is you have the most common size pots of 9 centimeters and 13 centimeters.
Yeah.
So there's your 9, and there's your 13.
Yeah.
So by knitting it, you get a really strong product. Whereas felting is like layering. I don't think it's quite as strong and stretchy.
Yeah.
But listen, as far as I'm concerned, 500 million plant pots are sent to landfill in the UK every year. Any plant pot that's not plastic is a step in the right direction.
Definitely.
So whether it's knitted, felted, whatever, it's a step in the right direction, and it helps our farmers. It's just finding a use for wool.
Yeah, definitely. The only things I've ever seen, which is not even similar, but are those molded paper mache type pot things,
or the coir.
or the coir, I suppose. But then as soon as you start watering them, that's it. They go to mush.
And some coir, we did a press release saying wool pots are much better for the environment than plastic pots, and we got an email from a plastic pot manufacturer who saying prove it, and we're like, what? And we literally were, wow, unbelievable. So we then teamed up with Lancaster University and did a whole lot of research, and they were saying, well, there's a ratio, a plastic ratio. So every 1 kilo of plastic creates 6 kilos of CO2. So instantly, there's your benefit.
Yeah.
And if you think how much your pots weigh, if you weighed your pots, those 300 pots, then times that by 6, that would be the amount of CO2 that those pots created when they were made. So
wow.
there's a big knock-on effect. But also what Lancaster University found is because we did a whole load of research stuff, and they found that a lot of coir pots, you collect the coir from Thailand and Malaysia and India, and then you send it off to be processed, which is basically stripped and steamed into the shape. And then not all, but some of the coir pot manufacturers dip it in epoxy resin or latex to help it keep the shape. Well, an epoxy resin is basically liquid plastic. So sometimes with your coir pots, not all coir pots, but we tested a whole load, and sometimes when you plant a coir pot, it just doesn't degrade, and you've obviously struck the jackpot with a epoxy resin coated one.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense, does it? It's done just for the people to oh look, that looks like a nice part, but it's not going to do nothing. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
But a coir pot, made properly, I mean, that's better than a plastic pot.
Yeah.
Because it will eventually degrade, even though the air miles on it are quite substantial.
Yeah. So the coir is still better than plastic, even though it comes from halfway around the world.
because all coir, non-dipped coir will eventually degrade.
Yeah.
And it will
it's a
eventually
waste
release
product.
nutrients. It will release nutrients into the soil,
Yeah.
and so it will eventually degrade, which is better than plastic pot, which will take, say, 450 years. And what they were saying, actually, if you landfill it, what plastic needs to degrade is sunlight, UV and moisture combination. So if you're burying it, there's a chance that a black plastic pot will last 800 years, maybe 1,000 years, because it's not getting any sunlight. It's not getting anything to make it degrade.
Yeah.
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 So,
But then going back to the recycling of them, even if they can recycle them, so that they've got all that massive carbon footprint to make them to start with, and then to recycle it, there's obviously more carbon made to recycle them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's both ends of it. You might think, oh, they're doing well by recycling it, but it's a massive process to do it.
there's still an energy used in the whole process.
Yeah.
And actually, it's quite honestly, some of the stuff we found out that some of the plastic pots, they chop them up, shred them, and melt them, and turn them into like children's slides and things like that. Which I guess is better than not using them at all.
Yeah.
But it's still plastic. The best way of getting rid of plastic is to not use it in the first place. And obviously not all plastic is bad. Some stuff we have around the house, is like on our phones and our computers. That's we need some elements of plastic in our life. But there's an awful lot of plastic we have in our life that we really don't need.
Well, it's just throwaway, isn't it? It's just it's horrible.
Yeah.
How much?
You were saying you go to this garden centre, and gardening is such an addictive drug, isn't it? Right? I absolutely do not need any more plants. You go to the garden centre. Come home with the boot full.
We always do that. Everybody does that. But then there's another 8 or 10 pots sitting there.
Yeah, you come home and you take the flowers out, stick them in the garden with the pots, or you stash them underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say most gardeners would do that. If they got one, they'll keep it. They won't just put it in the bin or whatever. They just keep them and stack them.
We think they're going to reuse them.
But then if
some people do.
Yeah. If all garden centres had at the till a bench for transferring it into a wall pot,
exactly,
that would be amazing. And then they could literally just keep the same pots every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then people would never take home a plastic pot.
Yeah, but that would mean the garden centres would then have to either give the wall pots for free and fund them themselves, or they'd have to say, you have to pay X amount to exchange your plastic plant pot for a wall pot.
Yeah.
And that's it's about commitment. It's like, do they really want to do that? Do they have the time and the inclination to do that? But I think probably quite a lot of people, if given the option, will go, do you know what, actually, I will pay a tiny bit extra, and I will transfer my pots into wool pots and take them home in wool pots in the big plastic tray.
Yeah.
So if you give people the option, I'm sure that quite a lot of them would. I mean, you think that Gardeners World Live, it was unbelievable. The first year we did it, we said to the Gardeners World team, so how many pots do you think we'll have to swap? And they were like, 1,200, 1,800. Yeah, we did 5,000.
Good God.
And this year we did more. We probably did nearly 10,000 pots this time.
I think I've done about 2,000 of those. All right, about 20. Sorry. But that just shows, doesn't it? It absolutely shows that people would rather take it away. I honestly think that us as the garden community are one of the biggest communities who are more into saving the planet than other.
If the option is there.
Yeah.
I saw
we know about it. Yeah.
I saw the message there about David Austin Roses. So we did a prototype with them. So it was a 6-litre wool pot with a drawstring. So basically you pop because they're worried about contamination as well, because roses can get contaminated quite easily. So
Yeah.
we did a drawstring version. So you take the big 6-litre plastic pot, and we use a form. You just basically put the pot over. It's like a big metal funnel. You slide the rose through, off it goes, and it's just put in a box and off it goes. And we did a big a trial with them, and they sent them the roses out to their regular customers and said, "What do you think?" And they were like, "This is great. I can just dig a hole, stick the whole thing in the ground. I don't have a massive 6-litre plastic pot, which are, there we are.
Bloody hell.
That's your 6-litre plastic pot." And the guy who we're talking to was like, "This is brilliant. We can send out our roses in this. We can send out our bare rootstock in this." And I said, "Well, let's try it at your shop. So when people are buying roses, they get an option to take the pots home in a wool pot or a plastic pot." And most of the people we spoke to, 99% said, "Absolutely, stick it in a rose sack, stick it in a rose sack, we'll leave the plastic pot behind." And then the guy we were talking to was a lovely, lovely, lovely chap. He got poached and left, and someone else came in, and we have to start the whole process all over again.
Oh dear.
So that's, if you think a 6-litre pot, how much that weighs?
Oh yeah.
That's got to be, I want to say 300-400 grams.
Yeah.
Maybe 500 grams.
A lot of plastic.
If that's 500 grams, that's 3 kilos of CO2 there.
Oof.
So we'll get there in the end, but it's just like this. We're just talking to people. We're trying to educate people, trying to kind of give them. I've seen a couple of messages ping up saying, "God, I didn't know any of this."
Yeah.
Well, they're hardly likely to tell you, "Oh, by the way, we're really screwing the planet by selling you these plants in plastic pots."
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just the roses things, Mark, you might know, but I went to a garden talk and there was someone there from Peterbilt's. And they said they to plant the roses in a cardboard box. You heard? Yeah. I don't know why. Joe might have heard of it, but they definitely said you plant the rose in the box. So you dig a hole big enough for the box, and then plant it in the box. I can't remember the reason, but just put the compost in the box, and then whether it's something to do with the roots or so, I don't know. I can't remember, but it definitely 100%. It was from Peterbilt's. He came.
Right.
But that would whatever for a reason that was some reason. But the wool pots might have that might do that. Whatever reason.
And the wool pots. Well, we'll have another go. We're just let me get my son's wedding out the way on Saturday, and we'll have another go. I can see a message saying you need to get into schools with charts, etc. It's funny you should say that because so we have created a sustainability lesson plan, and what happens is you only you basically you have a term's worth of work, and it's based on environmental and sustainable lessons. And in the pack you get 100 wool pots, you get a whole load of seeds and little lolly sticks and pencils you can write the names of on, and you have a whole term's worth of work, and you go into what plants need to grow, what conditions need to grow, and it's basically trying to encourage the next generation of gardeners into gardening, but also get them to garden in a sustainable, knowledgeable way. So and hopefully we'll obviously we created the lesson plan, and the lesson plan comes with 100 wool pots in it. So there's benefit for us there as well, but we really want to try and get the next generation of gardeners really thinking about what they're doing and about the whole plastic issue.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, Kim's heard of the box thing. It's to protect the roots from unfavourable nematodes. So I guess that gives the rose chance to get a bit more established, and then the box breaks down. So yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Yeah, same sort of thing. So that what you've just produced for the schools, are you sending them to to random schools or specifics?
No,
Or?
this will be launched as an actual, as a proper product, you get a whole term's worth of lesson plans. So you get the physical stuff that gets sent to your school. There's a whole lot of downloadables. So it'll be another proper grown up product that we'll just sell through. I think probably we'll have to set up an education arm to what we're doing to deal with that.
So there's the info's there, so the normal teacher can do it. You don't have to have somebody go in to teach it.
No, it's been designed so that it's proper. You get a whole series of lessons on what plants need to grow and photosynthesis and the different elements of a plant, and then the different elements of the flower, and then why flowers are different colours and why they emit smells to attract pollinators. It's a whole progressive program. And then in the US, we have sold into the US. As I say, just drop me a line on the through our website or our Instagram, and we'll hook up and have a chat.
Yeah, definitely sounds good.
But it is important that people understand the whole process. Some of the teachers we're speaking to are like, "This is brilliant. This is amazing." But I've never planted anything, so I'm not sure I'll be able to use your pack. And so we thought, okay, we're going to have to reassess where we are in the spectrum here.
Yeah.
So the pack is literally aimed at people who've never, ever planted anything ever. Right. Teaching it to
everyone's
who've
learning.
never, ever planted anything ever.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Is it primary school?
Yeah. I mean, the primary, and there's like an up-aging element to it as well if you want to take it into the next level up. We're talking to went into some schools having a chat. I'm a London based, and I was chatting to this girl, and she said, I've seen a cow, but I've never seen those sheeps. And
wow.
I was like, what? She said, I ain't never seen those sheeps. And so I was like, wow. I said, that's incredible. You've never ever seen a sheep. She says, no. And so I showed her a picture of a Highland cow, and
a big woolly one.
Because my friends in Scotland have got Highland cows. And I went, what do you think of this then? She went, what's that? I went, it's a cow. And she went, no, cows are black and white.
Black and white, of course.
And you suddenly go, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is what we're dealing with. And this is why farmers in the UK are pulling their hair out, because this is what they're dealing with. Yeah.
It's no different than the kids don't know where vegetables come from and things, they're in the plastic packet from the supermarket.
Yeah.
Some kids don't even know what vegetables are.
No.
Like my wife works in a school. She does lunchtime supervision, and she told me a story that one time there was a child sat there with his lunch and said, "Can I get down, miss? Can I go out to break?" And Steph said to him, "When you finish your carrots." And he looked at his plate and said, "Which ones are carrots?"
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
That's in Lincolnshire. We're surrounded by fields.
Carrot country.
Yeah. And the child didn't know what a carrot was.
Yeah. It is quite terrifying, isn't it? That we're literally having to start at literally ground level. And
this is a carrot.
Yeah.
This is a potato.
Yeah. I mean, develop a computer game for kids. Yeah. It's a computer game for kids is great, but they cost a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but also there's something very, visceral about if you see a carrot growing, or you have your own vegetables growing, and then you get them. I did this with my friends' kids. I picked some courgettes, went down to the kitchen, and got them to sort of chop them up, fried them in a bit of butter. They're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, funny that."
Food out of the ground.
Yeah, who would have thought?
out of the ground and out of a packet. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. So we are, wool pots are our core business. we want to move into nurseries because that's where we're going to make a really big impact. But at the same time, we've got to educate people in what we're trying to do and how to also like how to stop the use of plastic at the source by training by educating the next generation of gardeners that there are alternatives.
Yeah.
Not
that's
saying
all
that was a big task or anything. Just trying to save
Oh.
the world, you know.
Well, every little helps, isn't it? Not to talk about Tesco's, but you know, every little helps. Obviously, must do.
And
really does.
that's what we want. Someone at Tesco's or Sainsbury's or one of the big supermarkets to go. Do you know what? We'll just give it a go.
Yeah.
Even if they let us have a go in one store, we'd stand by the herb display and go, have you noticed something different about your herbs? Have you noticed they're not in a plastic pot? Do you know what this means? Boom, boom, boom. And we can, and you know, as you can probably tell, we like to talk. So, but it's
Yeah.
I mean, that's
how many?
Basil comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how many of those does Tesco sell every week? Unbelievable amounts of the potted herbs.
And they're not even seen as plants; they're just seen as like throwaway items because most people don't thin them out,
No,
and then they
they'll
use
just
it,
go.
and then it just dies.
They chop the whole top off, used it, and then just chuck the rest in the bin.
Yeah,
and that probably goes straight in the black bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waitrose or Co-op might be more like Waitrose possibly. They're
well, Waitrose online sell wool pots, bundles of wool pots. So they're
okay.
So we've got a little fingernail in the door there. So, but it's yeah, it is. I mean, it's an interesting challenge. Yes, I'm originally from West Sussex and very, very country boy, as you know yourself. We had a good chat on the stand.
Yeah.
Very rural, and I find living in Fulham is just blows my mind in so many ways because because we're dealing with a whole city of kids who when they see a sheep go do not have no idea what it is.
Yeah, that is really scary. Really scary. Because I live in the country and there's sheep there, there's cows over there, there's pigs around the corner, and you know I've seen them all my life. As long as I can remember, I've seen animals in the fields. But you get kids who like you've said a couple of times. There's
a city farm, Smithfield City Farm, that they take city kids to.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we're past the the witching hour, but they took a load of kids to the city farm, and they brought out a cow to show the kids, and one of the kids went, "What the is that?" And they went, "It's a cow," and they were like, "No, they're not that big." Because they've never even seen cows on packs.
Yeah.
They thought cows are this big. When you see a cow in real life, they're huge.
Oh, they are massive. Yeah. Really big. You ought to go on Dragon. Have you ever tried Dragon's Den?
I mean, they do take Deborah. We've approached Deborah Meaden, but we've got no response. Because she's actually very eco-friendly, and she's I think she's very good news. We approached her, but we've got no response. Dragon's Den, they always want a very big chunk of your business, and normally it's like the controlling share. And the moment you lose the controlling share, it means that, like for example, we wanted to try pot tape. We wanted to try we wanted to try the bigger sizes prototypes, and also we wanted to try the education packs. Yeah. And if as long as we control the company, we can do those things and go, do you know what, actually we think it's a good thing to do, and we give it a go. Yeah. Whereas if you no longer have control of your company, you're quite restricted to what you can actually do within your own company. So it's a tricky balancing act. Yeah, I think Dragon's Den, the first few series, they wanted to back the small businesses, but now they want the business to be making millions before they even bother thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
Shark Tank in the USA.
Shark Tank.
Yeah. I watched that when we went to New York. I saw Shark Tank on in the hotel.
Is that Is that the equivalent of
Yeah.
Dragon's Den?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more brutal than Dragon's Den as well.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Woolpots your full-time job, or do you have another job that supplements it?
I have another company.
Right.
And I make because also my friend Nikki, she's got a farm, and so quite often I go down there and I spend days, weeks, months cutting plastic tree guards off trees,
Wow.
which is another pet hate of mine. So I thought this is ridiculous. There's got to be a better way. So I had started a company with some friends of mine making biodegradable tree guards. They're made with a special type of card with a waterproof barrier on, and they're designed in such a way that you just pop the sides in and you slip the stake in, so you don't need to have, because normally you have a plastic tree guard and 2 plastic ties to attach it to the post. So we designed it specifically so that you don't have to have those ties. And it's a weird thing, but my background is in licensing and merchandising and product development.
Okay.
So I was one of the team who launched Teletubbies all those years ago.
Remember that?
Bet you
Your fault.
weren't expecting
Yes.
that.
Bloody Tinky Winky.
Yeah, so then depending on how old your kids are, we I launched a thing called Beyblade, which is the spinning tops,
Yeah.
battling tops.
Yeah.
I was looking after most of Europe then, and then more recently I launched Ben 10, which is
Wow.
a boys action brand. So I launched Ben 10 for for Cartoon Network over in the UK. I was looking after most of Northern Europe, which was also included Spain and Italy. And I worked out that basically the no one really wanted to look after Spain and Italy because they never did as they were told. And then just before Turner Broad, Time Warner was bought by AT&T, and once they bought us, they fired everyone. So at the end of 2019, I left Cartoon Network, Time Warner. So I needed something to do with my time, and so basically I decided to try and start up the tree guard business, because that was one thing that annoyed me. And then when I was talking to my friends about just burning their wool, I was like, this is ridiculous. I've got to do something about this as well. And I'm one of these people who it's like if I can make a difference, I will. The last thing I did before I left Cartoon Network was launch Rick and Morty, which is a slightly different range of products there.
Yeah, that's gone.
I don't know that one.
I've always been involved in sort of product development and building and creating brands and just trying to make a difference. What's that? I'm responsible. We'd love to break the US market. It's quite difficult, the US market, because basically you're so big. Maybe what we're gonna have to do is break it down into chunks and do it state at a time.
Wow. Well, Graham, that has been absolutely fantastic.
Well,
loved every second of that. So interesting. I've used Woolpots lots of times, and I think they're brilliant, and I will keep using them, and I'm sure lots of people now will, and hopefully lots of people around the world will soon.
Well, let's hope. We are. We're trying.
Yeah, and you're doing well. Yeah, doing really well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, listen, it's brilliant. It's brilliant chatting to you both, and you are. Yeah, you're good lads, and you're very supportive, and thank you very much for that.
No, thank you. It's been brilliant.
So before you go, Graham, we'd like to do a bit of a lightning round.
Oh wow!
If you'll indulge us. Not hard questions. So, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Flowers or vegetables?
Earl Grey.
Earl Grey, nice.
Lovely.
Flowers or vegetables?
Vegetables. I love cooking.
Beach or forest?
Forest. Every time.
What's your go-to emoji?
Oh my word. Well, I've got a fox red Labrador as well. Who's I wore it out today, so she's snoozing. So a Labrador.
I don't know the rest of the questions, so I can't.
If you could only have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh my word! I'm saying generically biscuits.
Oh yeah, that's a good range there.
You've pretty much answered this one. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Every time. Finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
Oh, a nice lunch with my family.
Lovely.
Yeah, a nice big, long Sunday lunch with my family.
Lovely. Lots of red wine.
Apparently.
Sowing seeds or potting on?
Come on.
I mean, I like sowing seeds. I'm afraid
You got to pot on with a wool pot. You have to pot on.
Yeah, if I sow the seeds, then I pot on. I get the
Oh,
best of
okay.
both worlds.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Spring or summer?
Spring.
And final one. Today's favourite plant?
I've dug a wild horseradish up from between my friend's paving stones, and that's my new favourite plant at the moment. And it doesn't look like anything, but you take a leaf off and you chew it. You go, oh yeah, it does have a little bit of
Like the chili challenge all over again.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not going to go there.
Oh, what a night that was.
Oh, that was a night to forget. You know, Tom. After Tom ate the final hot chili, the what was it called? The really hot one right at the end.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Armageddon.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He said the toxins in the chili. He said it was really hot, but the toxins in the chili made his eyesight go purple. So instead of like sepia, it went like purple sepia as he was driving home.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
But he got pulled over then and arrested him for drugs.
Yeah. You blow into this bag, he would have melted.
Yeah. Purple smoke going into the back.
But I know that this wild horseradish is sensational. So that's my plant of the moment.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Chris,
thank you very much.
Very much. Great talking to you.
No, thank you. And hope your son's wedding goes well.
Yeah, I just hope for a little less rain.
Yeah.
Let's hope
I
it's
think
got
it's.
it out of your way.
I think it looks like it's going to pick up the next few days. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Let's hope it lasts till Saturday.
Yeah.
Fingers
Excellent. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for Teletubbies and.
Time
Thanks
to be
for-
bye-bye.
Oh, brilliant.
Thanks, Bert.
Thanks so much, Graham.
Graham.
Cheers. Thanks.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Oh,
Wow. There you go. You've learned something new. Graham's responsible for Teletubbies.
oh my God. So my kids are that much older, so that I can remember when they first come out about, oh my God, it must have been 20 years ago now. Must be, at least, 20, 22 years ago. And then it's always on.
Well, they reinvented them. They CGI'd them when George was smaller. And then they had I can't even remember what they called them, but they had, so the Teletubbies had children.
No. No.
So they were looking after these even smaller Teletubby things that were even more annoying.
Can I spoke about Nathan's lawnmower robot.
Oh, yeah.
So his lawnmower is called Nunu, which was Teletubbies Hoover thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
So he put goggly eyes on it as well.
No, it's just what his daughter called it because she used to drive around on it. So yeah. So his name is Graham, and if you go into Woolpots and you can message him or go on, I can't remember exactly what their email address is, but just Google Woolpots and it pings up all over the place. Yeah,
He'll sort you out. He'll make sure you get some. He'll help.
Yeah, yeah. Even if he can't, they don't distribute over there. I'm sure he'll get some to you so you can try them out. He's so good. He's so good at that, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's whenever I've asked him for anything, he's been so accommodating.
yeah,
Will always help out with the project, charity,
yeah,
anything like that. And
yeah.
it's got to be the way forward. We've got to stop using plastic. It's ridiculous.
Definitely. So yeah, the whole thing about in a garden centre, just put it in a wall pot. What's it going to cost? If they can buy a bulk of them, I don't know, 30, 40 pence maybe. Just do it. For goodness sake.
We've
I think
almost,
what you need is some independence first, don't you? A little independence maybe.
or someone like British Garden Centres to, start doing it.
Yeah.
Those bigger chains to say, right, we're not doing plastic pots anymore. Because that's the way it used to be. You used to be, you bought a plant from a nursery, they'd dig it up for you, put it in a paper bag, and you'd take it home. They didn't used to be
No.
pots.
It's all bare roots,
Yeah.
isn't it, or whatever? Yeah.
They'd have stock beds. You'd go, I want that, and they'd go and dig it up.
Yeah.
And then obviously the plastic pot came out and made it an easier way of doing it. Obviously, because you can send stuff all over the world, but we can't keep going the way we are. It's not sustainable. We're
It's horrendous. And the whole thing about the recycling, about that pile of 8 different colours of pots and sizes and plastics, it's just absolutely horrendous. I suppose if they made one range and all of them are the same, so every machine uses the same, every nursery has the same, it might be a little bit better, but it's still not going to be as good as not having any.
And thicker pots. If they made a plastic pot to last, so that you could wash it, send it back, and it's reused, then plastic is fine. But it's this whole throwing it away.
Mr. Plant Geek's just come in. What are you tarts doing? You just missed Graham from Wall Pots for the last hour and 20 minutes. Having a very good chat about wall pots. Just to go back and watch it later. No, I really enjoyed that. Fantastic chat with Graham.
I knew it would be a good chat. And it's nice to actually have a proper chat with Graham, because usually if you see him, he's busy.
He's so busy, yeah.
You can have a quick chat, but never a decent chat. It's nice to find out some more about his background. And
that's amazing, isn't it? That's the thing. We know Graham as Graham of All Pots, but you wouldn't think that he invented Teletubbies.
Yeah, the whole thing he was saying about that they'd done all the trials and it was all, and then they were like, oh, the customers don't want it. Like, how do you know?
You don't know that. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
But it's time and effort and money for the companies, isn't it? And if things are working, they don't care. That's the whole saying of if it's not broken.
No. Well, when I went on a willow weaving course once, there was a guy that worked for a supermarket there, and I was talking to him about plastic and plastic packaging and stuff, and his words were, well, the customers don't want glass instead of plastic and stuff like that. And it's like, well, how do you know?
Yeah.
Have you asked the customers?
Yeah.
They don't. They because the customers buy something off a shelf in a plastic packaging, they'll be like, oh, they're buying it still, so they want it in the plastic.
Yeah. Customers
people
will, if you promote it, but of course they will. If you had Graham, like you said, if he had the chance, could stand at that stall in that garden centre and told people, they would say straight away, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they? Yeah. Glasses instead of plastic, yeah. But I think glass has also got a bit of a carbon footprint.
It has, but it's recyclable at least.
Yeah,
It's fully
of course it
recyclable,
is.
whereas plastic is, or even plastic that's recycled can only be recycled a few times as well.
Yeah.
It starts to degrade. So, we just need to not be using it for stuff that's, I mean, even stuff like plant food in plastic bottles, stuff like that. Like, we need to stop doing it.
Yeah, definitely. We really do. Yeah, we have the recycling bins. We can put a glass in.
Yeah.
They can't do it now in America. Oh, we can still do it. We can.
Apparently, there's a thing called the Hairy Pot Company. Somebody said on the questions. No, not heard of that one before.
No,
Stay away
I don't know that one.
from them; they'll shave me.
Oh
And
my
then,
god, you'd look so weird.
I'll tell you what. I saw a video on Instagram the other day of a guy that I don't know what inspired him to do it, but he was a guy with a beard and crazy hair, and he'd done a video for Instagram of him shaving his beard off whilst his family were at school, and then their reaction to him when they came home. It was absolutely brilliant. His kid just sort of sat there and was like, "What have you done?"
George wouldn't even recognise you, would he?
Not. George. It would be hilarious to film the reaction of George to me without it, or my hair cut off or something. You know, it'd be brilliant.
Wow. You could do a remix, couldn't you? Do it, Mark.
I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it on my stories because it did make me laugh. Just the react, and even the reaction of his wife. She was like, "Oh my god!"
I reckon we need to sponsor Mark. How much sponsorship would you want to have it all off?
Oh, it's got to be a Green Fingers charity.
Yeah.
How much is people going to pay to see me shave my beard off?
Ooh. You'd have to name your price and you have to work up to it. That'd be a good one, that would.
See how much money we can raise.
Yeah. I reckon you could get a few grand for that easy.
See, my mum was in the comments. Look, yes,
Is she? Do it.
I'm not shaving my head as well. I'll
No.
shave my beard.
All off.
Not doing
All
all
of
of it.
But where does it start and finish? You can't see where it starts and finishes.
You can look.
When you put that picture the other day with your glasses on the back.
Yeah. No, that was the front. That was.
Oh,
that
did
was,
you just put?
Did you put hair?
I was trying to find a picture of a monster, but it came up with Cousin It. You look like Cousin It off the Addams Family. Joe likes your hair, Mark.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm sure his wife does as well, Joe.
Somebody else, sorry? Yeah, for Green Fingers, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Right, love that. That was absolutely fantastic. Thanks everybody for joining us.
And that'll be on your podcast feeds on Friday. So go and have a listen if you've missed half of it.
Yeah, Mr. Plant Geek. You can watch it in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Harry Cotton. Oh, we'll have to have a look at them.
I'll have to check that out. There was one more question there as well somewhere. Do you believe in the theory that if you make your soil richer, it reduces mare's tail or any other genius solutions?
Oh, God.
Mare's tail is a nightmare, and I've never found anything that will successfully stop it. To reduce, the only thing I find that reduces it is just constantly pull it out as soon as you see it out, just because you'll starve the roots eventually. If you leave it to grow, you feed in the roots, so just keep on top of it is the best way I've found. But I guess that theory does work, that if the ground was richer, because it's definitely a poor ground plant.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my advice would be keep pulling it out.
I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to try and leave it. Just feed it and leave it. No.
Definitely not. No. Keep whipping it out is my advice.
That's what I do with everything. Just if you see it, pull it out.
Yeah.
And
mare's tails, it is quite. I mean, you never get all of the root, but it is quite easy to get that top piece off quite quickly with your hands.
Yeah.
Doesn't sting you. Just keep on top of it. Don't ever let it take hold, because its roots go down miles.
I was pulling, because I pulled my onions last weekend, and I was pulling some couch grass out from that. And I was pulling one, and the roots just went for ages. Just kept pulling it. Just get right across the bed. Brilliant.
Well, not brilliant. But...
Not brilliant, but it's quite fun. Right, start the rain, Mark.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm
Thanks
getting
for
wet.
watching.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.